Hey everybody, it's Gail, and I wanted to talk to you today about this pattern for a sweater that I like, that I made the sweater twice, and being me, I made them slightly differently. So the pattern is from the 1930s. It's called the Weekend Sweater. It is a sweater that is made by making a identical front and back and then sewing things together. Fairly simple. And it is made in thread. I used Curio from Knit Picks, number 10. And this is my sweater. Isn't it lovely? Like, I love this red, if that's not obvious. So this sweater, like I said, it works up as an identical front and back, and then you have buttons that you sew on, and then you make the buttonholes as you're starting the seaming on the whole sweater. There's also a little double button down on the waistband. And I would put this on to show you because there is actually enough stretch in this stitch pattern that it can fit over my current boobs, but fit is, well, it fits. I'm not kidding. I think I pulled something when I took it off after I took that photo. It was kind of funny. So this is meant based on making it exactly to instructions. This is meant for a 34-inch chest, which I will have in a few months. It's part of my aspiration wardrobe. And then the waistband, done to instructions, comes out to about 33 inches. However, it is a very easy pattern to add or subtract stitch count so that you can get it to fit you. And I can prove that by showing you the second sweater. So let me just da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So here's the second sweater and my stay-at-home sweatpants. And so this was made, it's the same stitch pattern throughout. And I used the same joining technique on the sleeves, which was a really clever way of doing it. And then the reason I have all of this trim is not just because I like a little bit of contrast, but it's because when I was making it and I was bringing the sleeves back in, I split it at the neck rather than do a front and a back. I just did it as one big rectangle. And when I split at the neck and kept working on the sleeves, I brought the sleeves in a little bit so they wouldn't just fall right off my shoulders. And I forgot about that. So the back is smaller than the front. And the white trim here was done to basically make it wide enough to fit around me. Now, like I said, the original version is part of my aspiration wardrobe. This clearly fits me very well right now with my current chest. But I do think that when everything gets smaller down on my chest, this is going to turn into like a really cute sort of slouchy look, which I'm all about. I did this one in Knit Picks gloss fingering. And then all the trim is done in Knit Picks comfy fingering because we were trying to use what was in the house, and I did it. So I think this is a really just cute, clever pattern. It's a great vintage vibe without being like too obviously vintage, if that's kind of your thing. You know, you like a little bit of the look, but not too much of the look. But also, it just seems to be a very classic cut 30s sweater. When you look at the other examples of crochet sweaters in the 30s, they all kind of look like this. You have, you know, sort of the pulled in waist. You have kind of looser in the top, flutter sleeves. We're going to call them flutter sleeves. You have flutter sleeves. And so I think this is a really good example of the kind of look that was fairly popular around that time. And there's actually a few more on Free Vintage Crochet that have this same sort of like, you know, buttons on the sleeves, buttons on the waistband, you know, just kind of like, I think it was just a way to add a little bit of fun while being aware that, you know, the 30s were a tough time for everyone. My one note on the pattern, this is the first vintage pattern in a while that I've not found an error in, which, I mean, it's just funny to me that like 4 patterns in a row I found an error. Usually it doesn't happen like that. But one thing I do want to note is that they tell you to chain 5 to work to make the button loops for the buttons, and I found that to be a little bit tight, so I would say go up to 6. And, you know, then of course, button it, try it. If you don't like it, go back to 5, you know. You don't have to listen to me. I'm just here to talk at you. So that is the double sweater. And I am now going to go and work on a very different sweater from a 1970s pattern that is genuinely a mess. The pattern is a bit of a mess. I will be making a video about it. I'm sort of fascinated by, I figured out why it's a mess, and we have all been there. It's one of those. But I'm going to go get back to stitching, and you go do whatever you do. As always, if you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, share, comment, whatever. And I will see you the next time I see you.